Welcome to the lesson Start with OKRs. Why OKRs? Whatever actions you do, they move you somewhere. Combined with OKRs, you move in the direction you set. So why OKRs? Because life is just too short to go in circles, especially if you want to move forward in life and business. Proper planning saves you a ton of time. And as Brian Tracy says, every minute you spend in planning saves you about 10 minutes in execution. And in the book Measure What Matters by John Doerr, he claims that OKRs drive 10 times growth. And I agree, it shouldn't look like this. It shouldn't be about so much planning. So let's get rid of all, not all, but all, almost all. Get rid of them. Okay, that looks way better. Endless planning gets you nowhere. But using OKRs to balance and align your dreams, plans and actions, that will get you forward. But what are OKRs? What is it standing for? OKRs, it's an acronym for Objective and Key Results. The objective is the direction, it should be inspiring, and the key results are about how you get there. Think about OKRs for a moment as a map with an integrated compass. There it is. The objective is a desired future you want to see. Let's say it's Future Island. And key results are the outcomes you need to get to your inspiring future. In this case, let's take this route. And OKRs help you to avoid going in circle as soon when you start your mission. Now I give you an example with Manfred. And Manfred, by the way, is growing. It's already so long. And we turned on the time lapse, as you maybe can see here in the background. Let's say Manfred wants to build a prototype of a planet where people live in harmony with nature. So he picks Future Islands as a place. And let's bring this on as an objective and key result. Manfred has the objective, people live in harmony with nature on Future Island. It's inspiring and it's why it matters. And then the key result is measurable and helps you to get to this Future Island vision, which is here as an example, 9 of 10 people spend at least 6 hours per day in nature. We have the dream, we have the plan, or we have the why, we have the how. What is missing here? The actions. The actions that contribute to 9 of 10 people spend 6 hours in nature. The doing mode are the daily actions that get you to the future. And then of course you have to measure frequently. Are we here? Have we achieved that? Imagine being on a boat and you lose direction just for a few degrees. This can make a little difference in the moment, but when you look at the big picture, what can happen is that you go to a complete different destination. And this is not what you want. This is why it's so essential to have here the quarterly check-ins where you set and measure your objectives and key results. If you should lose direction, then you have these check-ins to get back on track. And having 2 teams not checking in or one slacking behind can make that they go to another vision than you maybe want to go together, and this can break teams apart. Of course, OKRs have a history, and here is the OKRs history in a nutshell. Before OKRs, there were MBOs in 1954 by Peter Drucker. Andy Grove adapted it to OKRs and made a lot of improvements about goal setting. They are different, but I don't go into detail right now. We just focus on OKRs and not on MBOs. John Doerr learned OKRs from Andy Grove, took it and brought it to Google in 1999, where Google was very small. And when I say small, I think they were about 30 people or something like that. It was very early on at Google. It was too good to ignore OKRs, so they started using it and still use it. And after Google was using it, after 1999, for the next years or 10 years, OKRs became a boom and a lot of companies adapted that. Who is using OKRs? Google is most known for, but there is also Adobe, we have Amazon, we have Airbnb, then there is Dropbox, we have LinkedIn, Facebook, Spotify, Future Habits, haha. Of course we use OKRs at Future Habits. And it not only works for big companies or small companies, it works for individuals, it works for kids, it works for schools, and there are a lot of examples in the book, Measure What Matters. And hopefully you will adapt it too. The earlier you implement OKRs, the easier it will be. Google is a good example for this. Google implemented OKRs when they were very few people, and in 2023 there are about 150,000 employees, and they are all synced and aligned to OKRs and performing very well together. And when talking about performing, rhythm is everything. I'm showing here one person using OKRs, and I would like you to think in the metaphor of paddling now. So you have one person on a paddle boat. This way of goal setting needs rhythm and direction to move you forward. When people join the mission, they join the rhythm. And when departments join, they join the rhythm too. And so all can go in the same direction. OKRs keep them all on the same page, to the same vision, aligned. And this is why it's mandatory to check your map and compass in this frequency. Quarterly is to measure, learn, and set new OKRs. Then weekly is to update the KRs. You have conversation, feedback, and recognition. And the daily is a quick check-in to set the doer's actions. The leading case why OKRs don't work for some people isn't because of OKRs. It's because they don't stick to the rhythm that I'm showing here. As soon as you start skipping days and slacking, it will stop working in your favor. Think about the pedaling. If you just pedal a bit and then stop and then start again, it's not getting you anywhere. And by the way, it's very nice to have an accountability partner where you check in together and keep each other accountable for. Feel free to connect with someone in the Future Habits community for that purpose. And here comes how OKRs fail. If you want that 100 people start using OKRs, it's like when 100 people start paddling together. It will lead to chaos. A general rule for companies is to start with the leader first. And here comes how to learn OKRs. A person can learn OKRs when joining a team who is performing well with it, or just on their own, like in this program with our guidance. Coaching, feedback, and training is necessary to improve, and this is what we do for you. Think about the gym. When you go to the gym, you have once in a while someone who checks in with you and sees if everything is working well for you. As soon as you have practiced OKRs a few cycles, you can easily bring it to the next circle, like to your team or department. But in any way, you have to practice it for about 3 to 4 quarters before it sticks. It's like muscle training. The longer you do it, the better you get. And here is the assignment to get started with OKRs. Because the only way to learn OKRs is by doing OKRs for a few cycles, we would like you to learn OKRs on one single project or idea that moves you ahead in life or business. For this assignment, make a list of all ideas and projects that come to your mind, and then highlight those that you would like to spend at least 1 year on it. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next lesson.